Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. You've made it to the middle of the week. Shout out to y'all. Y'all the real ones over here. Lots to get to. The Aces win the Commissioner's Cup last night. The player I said was going to be MVP was MVP. How about that? Also, rumors out there. Can Carmelo Anthony be on his way to the Bay? We'll get to that and more and your thoughts on everything NBA and WNBA here on Hoop Spaces. I hope that you are dry. I am not. It is raining here. My son had swimming practice, and let me tell you, I've been to a lot of practices and a lot of sports. I've participated in a lot of practices. I had no idea that swimming practice in the rain it hits different. We'll talk about that. Also, today's one-on-one is going to be a good one. I think you're going to enjoy it. I don't want to tease too much beyond the fact that Mark Price is involved. All right, I'll be back in about 30 seconds. If you want to come on up, go ahead and request the mic. I'll get a tweet up here so we can tell everybody we're awake and alive. Get your coffee. Good morning. Welcome to Hoop Spaces. All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We've got a great game that we're going to talk about and break down. That was the WNBA Commissioner's Cup last night between the Chicago Sky and the Las Vegas Aces. It's always a great day to talk basketball. And if you look above, the tweet is there. Go ahead and like and retweet that for us. We are here in the dog days of NBA offseason. We are done with the bulk of free agency. We are done with people signing their draft contracts, and we are looking forward as to what happens in August, maybe one or two more trades. But it is now set in stone the majority of what teams will be looking like going into training camp. So pretty soon we'll start talking about that. But tonight, or I should say last night, there's a great game between the Las Vegas Aces and the Chicago Sky. Two teams that are looking to be basically the representatives for each conference in the WNBA Finals. If you watched the game, I urge you to raise your hand and come on up to talk it with me. Because I tell you what, it's pretty boring when you're trying to talk about the WNBA by yourself, as evident by the successful rooms that we have been seeing lately by the committee, the hoopstresses, and even a couple of trollish-like spaces. I tell you, we're growing in terms of a basketball community every day here. I see Danny's ready to come up. Let me go ahead and get Danny up. Shout out to some content creators down below. I see Edwin Garcia in the building. You definitely want to shoot him a follow, covering the Los Angeles Sparks and the WNBA, as well as the Los Angeles Lakers. Rico Suave is in the building, one of three of 77 spaces, the best damn Mavs content that you can have. Also down below, I see my man Anthony. I see darling Nikki. I see Sage Monroe. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate you coming through. Danny, good morning. How are you doing?
Oh, good morning, Chris. I'm doing good this morning. How about
Oh,
you?
I'm doing great. I can only imagine why you are doing good this morning, and I am on the lookout for 808s and snack breaks because we got some game that we got to break down here.
Yeah, we do. No, I'm just glad to be awake this morning. That's what I'm glad about. I'm glad that I'm on the other side, not on the other side of this great day.
Ooh, you telling on yourself again, man. Like I tell you, nobody tells on themselves quite like you do, Danny. Uh,
I
what
know.
you had? What was the drink of choice last night? Let me know.
You know what? I last night I made me a. Chrissy started to know me so well. Last night I made me another like a alcoholic beverage milkshake, but with this stuff I found. I forgot what it's called, but it was a mango colada flavor with rum. And I put a little vanilla ice cream in it, and I sit there and sip on it during the game.
Are you a Gemini?
No, I'm a Capricorn. I'm born on Christmas Day.
All right. So my son just found out about zodiac signs.
Mm-hmm.
Found out by reading a science fiction book, by the way. So this
Oh God.
thing, I look, if you're into horoscopes, good for you. I'm
Mm-mm.
so happy for you.
My husband's a Gemini, by the way. I call him Two Faced.
So there you go. So he had found out that Gemini's like mango. That's why I was asking. Supposedly, your
I can
astrological
confirm
sign
we do.
tells you what you like.
Oh, okay. I never thought I would like that drink, but it's really good. If I have more than one, I didn't have enough to have more than one last night, so that's why I'm not as drowsy as I normally am after I had a couple of drinks. But
You got to drink water. You just got to drink water.
I
Drink.
drank it. I drank it before I go to bed, and I drank it the first thing when I get up in the morning. I actually have a cup of water right here with me right now, and a Mountain Dew sitting
Look,
right.
I one get rid of that orange post nuclear waste that you got there. That orange nuclear waste or green nuclear wastewater.
I like it. It's good. It wakes
Uh,
me up in the morning. It's like my
it
coffee.
has more caffeine than coffee. That's not good.
I know.
Not good. 93-83, ladies and gentlemen, your final last night, Aces over the Sky. Up here, also on stage, we have our friend Domo, who is an Aces fan via the Stars of San Antonio. Domo, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I hope everybody's having a blessed. What's today? Wednesday. It's Wednesday, Chris. Yeah. Everyone's having a blessed, productive Wednesday. I'm going to get my nails done as we speak. I just got a sneakers W on the teal and pink dunk lows. So God is good. You know what? I have disrespectful, man. Let me start this off the right way, man. I just want to give salutations and blessings to Greg Popovich and RC Buford and my friend. She liked my tweet last year on her birthday. Becky Hammond. I want to give a big shout out to my soror. I'm an alpha. She's an AKA to Asia Wilson. Um, to White Lightning, Kelsey Plum. It's a good day, Chris, man.
No, that's Cash. That's Cash. That's what Coach Staley called her, Cash, last night.
Listen, man. We can call her whatever we want to call her, right? I call her whatever she want to be called. All I know is that what you saw last night is only going to be repeated. What? Like, is it? This is July. What's it? August, September. Is that when the final? When the finals, Chris? We still got probably what? 5 more weeks.
I think it's like 4 weeks to the playoffs.
Yeah, then playoffs should take another 3 or 4 weeks. So it'd probably be what, like late August, early September, something like that.
Something like that. Let me bring it up for you.
Well, August is next week. Anyway, that being said, all is well. The sun is chirping. Birds are shining. Yeah, I know I said that backwards. I'll be okay. I got me a smoothie, Chris.
All 7 start of the WNBA playoffs, so that puts the finals in like first, second week of September.
Beautiful. So yeah, man. Like I said, man, the sun is chirping, the birds are shining. I got my medicine rolled up. I got me a little smoothie. I'm about to get my nails done, then get a nice little haircut. So man. So all is well, Chris, man. All is well. Everything is good, man. Everything is love, like Beyonce and Jay-Z said.
Everything is love. The vibes are immaculate. That's what I'm putting on Yankees Pride.
Immaculate.
Immaculate. The vibes are immaculate. No, I'm just doing that because Yankees Pride put out a Hump Day gift down in the chat box. So if you're down below, people are here trying to say hi. If you want to interact, they're down there. I see Sage Monroe's down there. Yankees Pride is there. Jose is there. So head out there. If you got a thought that you want to share, but you can't come up on stage, post it there. And as always, Domo is here to preach the goodness of Spurs life, because that's what the Aces are, right? They're the reincarnation of Spurs life. Like if you don't watch that game and you don't see the imprint and the actual entire methodology of Greg Pop, I'm sorry, y'all need to go ahead and relearn the game. What
Even
you got?
the plays.
Yeah, even the plays are fundamentally based out of the what are the set that they called when they had Robinson and Tim Duncan? I forget. They had a specific set for those two.
They had splitter. They had too high. But what I was saying is, like, if you look at some of the shots Kelsey was getting, those are just 3-point versions of the shots Tony used to get.
Exactly, or Manu, right?
Or
like,
Manu.
Yeah, and let me go ahead and get into this recap. I'm trying to extend it because I'm hoping 808s and Snack Breaks shows up this morning. I would love to get his thoughts on last night's game. So maybe if somebody wants to reach out in a fun way, maybe we'll get him in here. But last night, wire-to-wire win, 93-83, Aces over the Chicago Sky in the second annual WNBA Commissioner's Cup. And I don't know if the format stays the same the way it is. We'll get to that maybe a little bit later. But what I can tell you is that these types of intra-season tournaments aren't going anywhere. It gives them another avenue of advertising and marketing, and more importantly, money. And that's what they need. They just need to do a better job at it. So make sure you understand that this looks like it's going to stay. Chelsea Gray, if you were here yesterday, people made their picks. More people picked the Sky than the Aces. I picked the Aces to win. I picked them to win by 8, and I picked Chelsea Gray to be the MVP. So I am 2 points off from a perfect evening. And actually, this year, like I should gamble. Apparently, I don't. But this year, I'm 29-7 now in WNBA picks. So like, imagine if I actually did something with that. To drive interest, right? There was a $500,000 prize pool added to this game. The Aces won. Each player won 30 grand for being on the winning team. Sky players, they received 10 grand. Chelsea Gray, she received 5 grand for the MVP plus the trophy. This is an important addition because if that prize pool stays, right, it's only going to increase, and that'll be another way of monetization to spur more competitive action. Excuse me. So I want to get that in there. But out from the tip, Kelsey Plum was on fire. She was locked in. She stared down the defense and just drained the opening three-pointer. And from that point on, I think everybody realized that the Aces as a team seemed pretty much hell-bent and had been waiting for this moment to get their revenge. We'll go to Jay, the Wakandan tech support, to say good morning. Jay, your thoughts on the game last night, and say good morning to the good people.
Good morning, everybody. And since we're talking about the WNBA, here's your morning growl. Grr. You know what I'm saying? So y'all know it's real. But yeah, the game went the way I thought it was going to go. The Aces were going to come out offensively, and the Sky were going to have a lull that was going to be their death knell, and that's what happened. Both teams play hard. The Sky have really, really good competitive character, but they got to figure out how to start faster. They just have these moments where it's like they think that there are certain first 5 minutes of the game or the first 5 minutes of the second quarter like don't count toward the overall score. I don't know what's going on, but they're a good team. It wouldn't surprise me if this is a finals matchup preview. But as long as the Aces can be locked in for, at least 36 minutes, I don't see how you beat them.
Yeah, I don't see it either. What I think we see is the Aces and Sky are probably the only two complete teams, and the Aces just have a better team head to head. That's what it looked like last night. Like,
Yeah,
monstrously better, but just better. What do you think?
yeah, I think so too. Do you think that's due to certain play because the Sky are so loaded, and I think there's a not a your turn, my turn type of deal, but kind of game to game. I don't know if they know definitively who's going to carry them because there are some nights where Candace Parker turns back the clock. There's some, you know what I'm saying? And so I know they have a quote unquote pecking order, but when they play, I'm not sure that it doesn't look to me that they know night to night, this is who's going to give us this, this is who's going to give us that, this is when they're going to give it to us, which is also important. That's what I don't see.
That's actually a great point, Damo, Danny. If you watched it and you want to hop up in here,
Yeah.
because it didn't seem like that. It seemed like Candace Parker was locked in, and it seemed like Kalea Copper was locked in, but Messiman was not herself last night.
But she did keep them in at some points. When they needed a score, she always came up with a score on her end. You are right. They are like, it's so many of them. Can you hear me good? Because I put my wire headphones in. Okay.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay.
You want us to growl?
No, I don't need you to growl.
Okay.
No, sorry. What I saw from the game is it's about energy too, because the Aces came out with good positive energy. You remember Candace kept on saying, we got to change our energy. It's almost like, I don't want to say, okay, it's almost like they knew they were on their home court. They knew that. I think they weighed on their. I guess they thought in their head that they came back from that other big lead that they could do it again. But this time, the like you said, the Aces seem to be locked in, and they play defense. They just have to be consistent and locked in on defense. And my mama told me to tell some of y'all who said they don't play defense. They do play defense. Y'all don't know basketball. That's what she told me to tell y'all.
Wow, point for mom.
Wow.
What's up, mom?
Wow.
How you doing?
Okay.
Beulah came in and told me, she said they play defense. They just don't, they're not locked in all the time. They just got to be locked in. That's how my mama sounded in my head.
Go
But
ahead.
that's what she told me last night. She went ahead and got on Prime. She said, I brought it for a month. I'll cancel it at the end of the month. I said, okay, mom. But anyway, I do agree with y'all about that. And they do play a lot of San Antonio, a little bit of Golden State way. If they move the ball, if everybody touches the ball, at some point, it's just not jacking up threes like Coach Daly says, so your girls can rebound the ball and give y'all second options. That's what helps them with their defense if they're able to set it.
First and foremost, with respect to Mama Beulah, with all due respect, I do think, and Chris, tell me if I'm throwing too much of a grenade here. So I think the way that Becky wants them to play defense, and I think the way they will eventually play defense, they don't quite have the personnel for. Like if you look at the way to make another Spurs parallel, right? If you look at the way the great Spurs defenses were played, you had very aggressive point of attack defense, and then they would feed that into either the middle of the baseline for rim protection. I do not view Asia as an elite rim protector. I think she has the size and the quickness to do well enough. Derrica definitely isn't. And honestly, I also don't see like a really good wing defender. Like I think that they have like I think that they play good concept team defense, but I think that in the second and third year of Becky being in the organization, there'll probably be small tweaks to the roster that allow them to play better conceptual defense. Because truth be told, and I understand that she might be a cancer off the court, but if you talk about like what this team needs defensively, they actually need a Liz Cambridge. They need someone who is tall, who is committed to protecting the rim, who allows your perimeter defenders to be extremely aggressive. So if they get blown by, that safety's there. Honestly, free BG. They could use a BG. And those are like obviously expensive all-star ask, and not saying you get them, but if you can get like a lesser version, a less talented version of that, just someone who can be Chris, I'm gonna throw a name out. If you can get your version of Tiago Splitter, you can get your version of Jakob Poeltl, someone who can just take up space, allow Asia to only focus on offense primarily and dominate. I think that's what you will see in the next couple of years. I think that's what the Aces will probably look to draft or add to free agency. But I think that they're executing well on defense. I just don't think they have necessarily have the personnel right now.
I mean, I could see that. I don't know if they even really need a Podol. They just need somebody who can provide better help defense. And I think the issue is that they're trying to use Asia in both the role. Sometimes as the primary rim protector, and sometimes as the primary help defender. And I don't think that really works for her. She needs to do one or the other, and I think it needs to be the help defense. So.
Well, that's why I said De'Erica needs to come off the bench and you start Kia Stokes instead. Because Kia is that. Kia does play defense. Kia is a rim protector. In some essence. Really, Asia play volleyball. I didn't even know that. That's why she blocks the ball the way she does. That's why she knows how to go straight up.
Yeah,
if you ever watch help her, yeah, she knows how to keep her hands up. So that's why she's able to get those rebounds and get those blocks and also in her end. But if she would start Kia Stokes instead and let De'Erica come off the bench, I think that would be better. Because technically they don't really need De'Erica's offense just as much. Because I think De'Erica probably do better coming off the bench because that's where the second unit issues is. Because Kelsey and Jackie, I love them, but they're not ball distributors. They're scorers, and they can score, and they don't know how to get everybody else involved like Chelsea does. So that's where the bench and the second unit sometimes have a problem because those two chicks are scorers by nature. So if they could get those two to distribute the ball more, have De'Erica come off the bench with them, that might stabilize that second unit better. That's just my opinion. So,
Danny, do you think? Oh, sorry.
We have some breaking news, and this is big. Chip England is now an assistant coach for the Oklahoma City Thunder after spending years with the San Antonio Spurs as one of the preeminent shooting coaches in the league. I mean, this is the guy who developed Kawhi Leonard's shot. This is the guy who turned Tony Parker into a floater maniac. He is now on staff for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Wow, that's a big get.
That is a huge.
I'm so tired of y'all taking our assistant coaches now. I'm so sick of this foolishness. I'm so tired. And then y'all don't want to give us our credit. Y'all don't want to appreciate them.
Oh no, we appreciate him. I want him in Philly. I think he would make Matisse Thybulle into a Hall of Famer, but that's just me.
I want to go back. I want to go back to the Aces.
Back to the Aces.
I disagree with. No, I take that back. That's not the right word. I understand the point of the Aces needing a shot blocker or a rim protector. But what I think they do is play defense like the Boston Celtics in that they have a couple of rim deterrents. And I think what the Aces want to do, because they don't have a shot blocker, is just deter shots at the rim. And when they're locked in, they do that really well, especially when they can funnel shots so that Miss Wilson can come in from the weak side. And I think that's the defensive model they're going for. I wouldn't wish Liz on my least favorite WNBA team because there's no team in Boston. And so...
And not too much on my baby mama, bro. Not too much on my baby mama. I understand she toxic, but not too much on her.
Oh man!
I'm just saying the only team I would wish Liz on is a WNBA team in Boston. So I think that's where the Aces are, and I think. Oh, I don't know why you would wish that on them, but okay. But I think that's where the Aces are defensively, and when they're locked in, it really works. It really does. So But if the Sparks need a big man, I mean, I'm sorry, basketball habit. If the Sparks need a front court player, there's a really good player who went to Jackson State that was drafted by the Fever that they need to call up. Just saying.
Get the Jackson State plug in, man. Go ahead. Love it. Let's see. We've got Dany D. Domo. I want to give a shout out down below to Saint from That's Kingdom 30 and Dubs is also in the building, as is Victoria. If anybody and you want to come on up here to talk the Commissioner's Cup and what we see in the Aces, we'll turn it around towards the sky in about 5 minutes. Come on up. We'll let Dany D or Domo reply. I got to fix this Mark Price post up here so I can put the poll. I want to also highlight Chelsea Gray. The reason why I thought she had a great chance last night to be MVP, as I explained yesterday, is I thought she was going to be able to be alone and take advantage of the Sky trying to cover down on Asia and then covering Kelsey with some high-low action that would give her some open shots on the wing and in the corner. And instead of that, she basically single-handedly carried the dead period for the Aces. And I want to ask everybody, if you remember, there was a player, his name was Vinnie Johnson, and then there was a player, his name was Joe Dumars. They both played for the Pistons at the same time. And when I watch Chelsea Gray, I see shades of both Joe Dumars and Vinnie Johnson. What does that mean? I think she's the perfect complementary guard in the WNBA. In fact, I don't think there's a better complementary guard in the NBA. Very similar to what Joe Dumars was able to provide Isaiah Thomas, she is able to do for Kelsey Plum. And then she has the ability to like literally catch fire in 3 quick possessions, and you can walk away with anywhere between 6 and 10 points. And that is such an underrated skill also in the W. We only really see those ball dominant players usually have that, but she has that as a off ball player. So I do want to shout out again Chelsea Gray, and you can look up top. There is a tweet that has her as MVP in a Photoshop. So I'm happy to see other people actually do that. So next up on these Aces talk, is this something that can be sustainable, either for Chelsea Gray or for the team in general?
Yeah, it can be because the team is what it is. If the bench can give them, if they go 6 deep, or I mean 7 deep or 8 deep, they just got to give them 2 or 3 minutes here or there during the game. In my mind, I think a lot of people forget that. I know they talk about Candace winning for the Sparks and all that kind of stuff. That was Kelsey. Kelsey was the one hitting them shots at the end against the Lynx. A lot of people forget that she hit that shot that helped them win. So Kelsey did a lot of stuff on the LA team. So when she left LA, I was like, "Ooh, they in trouble in LA because you don't let that walk away." I was happy when she came to the Aces. I mean, I celebrate. I was like, "We gonna get a chip one way or another because she's here because she's the point guard." I do think they can sustain it. The team is what it is. If they can lock in mentally, like Asia said last night, it's a mentality, it's a mental. She said last night, yeah, defense does win championships. And I think they're starting to see that, yeah, we got to play defense. We got to be committed. We got to talk to each other. We got to push each other to go with that person and let everybody knows that, and that they can't play hero ball. And, they got to share the ball. And when they need a bucket, when they got down by 7, the Sky, and they need a bucket, Chelsea was there. The point guard was there. And when she can pass the ball up and get that offense moving, she like she said, they took care of the ball. They didn't try to force the issue. They were patient, and that's probably the biggest thing. That's stuff that don't show up on the stat sheet. I know a lot of people like to look at numbers, but being patient, don't let their defense dictate how you play. You control your tempo, and I really enjoyed that. So I hope I answered your question. Sorry.
No, you did. I thought it was great. Now I'm just worried about the cars in the background. What did your dogs do? Did they start tearing up the neighbor's garden?
No, the house we're renting is right off the street. It's like a main street. So you're gonna hear that towards the end of the day. The house we're buying is totally not near the street like that, so you probably won't be hearing that anyway. or I got the door open to let them go in and out.
That's all that was. Domo, you're open. What you got, man?
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna answer that question two ways. Do I think that it's sustainable for Chelsea? Potentially. I think it will depend on the types of. I think it will depend on how teams decide to guard Asia and Kelsey. I think that the way Chelsea plays, she does not force things. Um, she lets the game come to her. So it would not surprise me if in the finals she has bad numbers, but her impact is high. Also, would not surprise me if in the finals she wins Finals MVP. I think it will fully be dependent upon how teams decide to play both Asia and Kelsey. But what I do think is that will we be able to sustain this? Absolutely, because I think that we just have too much. I think that Asia Wilson is the best player in the league. I think that Kelsey is finally playing like a number one overall pick. I think that I don't know that I fully agree with Yanni that Derek should be back on the bench, but I think that if she was to go back to the bench, she would probably be the best bench player in the league. I think that you just have to pick your poison. Like my legitimate only critique to this team is their ability to maintain their execution defensively down the stretch of big games because outside of what Chelsea, like they've never been there before. Chelsea, they've never been there before. But yeah, I mean, I think that they'll be just fine. But will Gray be able to do it? I think it'll depend on the look she gets.
I agree. Shout out to the pickup card game in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Chelsea Gray would definitely be a floor general microwave combo in the pickup card game, and I agree. You can catch your copy of the pickup card game over at slamgoods.com. Go over there and pick up a copy yourself. $25. It's worth it. Shout out to TJ also in the building. Here, gloating vicariously through the interwebs for her Las Vegas Aces being victorious. And shout out to all of you South Carolina Gamecock fans because, of course, Asia Wilson is having fun living her best life on Twitter. If you don't,
and can I just say another thing?
Go
Don
ahead.
Staley need to be an analyst on all these WNBA games. You know, Don Staley.
Someone else said that last night, and you want to know why I disagree? Is I think if that happened, it would become an oversaturation issue, and I don't want that. Her voice is so poignant and powerful. I would rather have her continue to do what she's doing, which is picking out her spots when she wants to be heard, as opposed to just being there all the time. That's just
her mouth is foul too, like mine. So yeah, she said, "Oh shit," when Asian did that move. I was like, "Oh, look, he's on Amazon Prime, sis."
If you've never watched her post game presses, like there are times where like the reporters are kind of they're videoing their own, and like she's talking with an assistant coach and doesn't realize that the mic is picking her up. It's hilarious. All right, back to the game. Chicago Sky, they lost, but they looked good in the loss. They won every quarter but the first. I've been, trying to wait for 808s and snack breaks to pop up here to get his take, but he's doing work.
Ducking smoke.
Ducking smoke. So we'll go ahead and go with the three people up here. What did you see from the Chicago Sky? Is this something that they should be concerned about? Or is this something where we just need to say Vandersloot just came back and we need her to get better? She's coming back from injury. They're fine.
I'll go first. Free Candace Parker. That's mine.
Free
That's what I got to say.
I didn't be free.
Free CP. She deserves better than that organization and what that team has put around her. She don't got no help. All right, let me stop joking. I mean, Kalea Cooper is Kalea Cooper. I don't think anyone's surprised by how well she played. I don't know. Here's my thing with Courtney Vandersloot. When we say she's just getting back, she's 33 years old, if I'm correct. Like, what do we expect her at 33 to get back to? I don't. And how long do we expect it take for her to get back? Like, what if this is it for Courtney Vandersloot? Like, I think that's very possible that this is it. And then you have a conversation about, okay, well, who's, the facilitator, who's going to be the point guard of this team moving forward. And I don't know who that is. Like, I don't think it's Quinley. I mean, just because she white and can dribble well, but she's 35 too. Like, what does the future of this team from like a facilitating point guard look to? Because as great as CP3 is, like, she's still a big forward. So you do need someone who can get the ball across half court, set up your offense, get the ball to her. I get it, basketball's called positionless, but if you expect Candace Parker to be running the point for this team, they're not gonna win any game. So like, they need to figure out what they're gonna do as far as like guard play there, because the Aces killed them.
Did you watch the game last night in its entirety?
So for Candace Parker.
Well, no, I think more so he's asking for a long term. He's asking a long term question.
It's supposed to be Dana Evans, I think, right?
Well, it's kind of why I want 808 here.
That's why I want 808 here. I believe it's Dana Evans, but he didn't really play her last night.
She didn't play at all last night.
She didn't play at all last night. He went actually 8 deep. He didn't use his whole bench. He played Azare,
Gardner
and some other. I'm going to say white girl because she was white. Okay, I didn't know her name.
It's Julie Allemand.
Thank you. I couldn't think of her name. I knew it started with A. I just couldn't remember it. Thank you. But he didn't play Dana Evans. I don't know what she did to piss him off last night, but he didn't play her at all, and that shocked me. So, yeah, that's James Wade. That 808. Where you at?
That actually is a good question. Because I actually thought she played as well.
Ducking smoke.
He's not ducking smoke. He's working, and more so with the injury. I was more saying that she's just coming back for that game. It was the first game she was back, so she's not going to be 100%, right? She's more likely 80, 85 for the game last night. In terms of watching the game in its entirety, they look great, except for the first quarter. That's why I was asking: is this something that we need to actually start, wondering? If they are going to give up a quarter like that, I mean, similar to how the Boston Celtics lost against the Golden State Warriors, right? They give up the majority of points, but they win the majority of quarters. DA is in the building, I think, and if it's not DA, it is K.Lou, and that's the 94 by 50 Women's Basketball Podcast. Go ahead and shoot them a follow and check them out. They had a great show the other day with a great guest and a great space. I don't know which one's running it. I see K-Dot down on the bottom, so I think it's DA, so I'll say what's up to DA.
Yeah, it's me. Just give me a moment. I just came back in the crib from physical therapy on my back, so just give me like 2 minutes. Let the next person go. Whoever said the whole Candace Parker thing, you wildin'. Yeah, Candace Parker, she started
wildin' crazy.
Yeah, you wildin'. Candace Parker, she started off, matter of fact, the whole team started off bad. And that's the game right there. 2 minutes cost them the game. That's it. And it happens in professional basketball. Sometimes you can come back from it. Sometimes you can't recover from that. So, it is what it is. They won the last 3 quarters. So I think going forward, they could actually take a positive from that game and say, hey, we can still beat this team when it matters. So it's really no big deal. Nothing to be concerned about. Actually, I'm ready to talk now. Like I said, it's nothing to be concerned about at all. It's just simple, basketball mathematics, man. It was a good game. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed how Vegas came out to play. I was impressed. I had them winning the game because of how their record is actually better on the road than at home, and also they wanted to get some of that get back from losing that 28-point lead. Asia's playing in front of her coach. You know what I mean? And she played amazing. I'm surprised. I was surprised that Chelsea Gray won MVP, even though she played awesome. At first I'm like, all right, it's going to be Kelsey Plum because she came out like gangbusters, 4 threes in the first quarter, 6 threes overall. Then Asia just dominated the game. 17 and 6 blocks, 2 assists, and 2 steals. So I was really surprised that they went with Chelsea Gray. But then with Chelsea Gray, like, the way those passes, and it's funny because she only had like 4 or 5 assists, but those hit-ahead passes, man, was awesome. And the way that she was just scoring, getting the buckets within the offense, like real quiet. It didn't look like she had 19. It looked like she had like 12. And the way how she controlled that game, I see why she got the MVP. But now, and also the bench. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go give me some applause for Kia Stokes, y'all. Come on. Throw some hands up for Kia Stokes, y'all. You know what I mean? Because Kia Stokes, 2 points, but them 7 rebounds was huge, y'all. You know what I mean? Just her energy overall. Think about it. She took a lot of minutes from Dearica Hamby last night because of her play, that activity, So like it was a really solid game. I definitely enjoyed it. And thanks, Chris, for letting me speak and also plugging the show. I appreciate that, my guy.
Yeah, absolutely. No IG Bran. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's popping, y'all?
What's your thoughts on the game last night?
Oh, well, I was kind of amazed and shocked at the same time about how many shots the Sky were missing. They were getting the looks, and they just couldn't get the buckets to fall. But also, the Aces, and then with Don Staley being courtside announcing, I think Asia really took that, to heart because they really came out and they just, whatever the plan was, they executed it from like the tip off. And I see the Sky kind of felt kind of like a punch in the mouth because they was, knocked back on their heels, I guess you say. And the foul trouble, like the Sky had a lot of early fouls, or just a lot of just fouls that if they were, starting to run or gaining some momentum, it kind of stopped it. So it was. I'm not gonna say the Sky aren't. It made them. The Sky got exposed last night. I say that only because I believe they knew that the Aces were the better team, and I think that's why the game opened up how it did because they were kind of like, how are we gonna defend this starting 5? So yeah.
I don't know about that, man. I don't know. I just think that the Aces came out and I think they like I said, they scored the first 13 points, and they just left Kelsey Plum, open, for 3, and she's deadly out there. You know what I'm saying? So I guess it was just like a minor some minor mishaps at the beginning of the game pretty much cost them because, like I said, they actually, if you take the 3 quarters out, I mean the first quarter out, they win the game. So
Yeah,
I just
they
think
lost
that
by
is
10,
yeah. So I guess that it's just that they just gotta make that adjustment and stuff going into the next game. I think they play the Aces again on August 11th. So, there's a lot to look forward to, man. Like, that's just basketball, yo. You know what I mean? It's a game of runs and sometimes a run that you can't come back from. And you just go to the drawing board and come back the next time. That's what makes the game so fun.
Well, my issue that I have with Chicago is when you start looking at their losses, there's one thing that is a glaring eyesore, and that's their 3-point shooting, right? Like last night, they were 20%.
Oh yeah.
They were 30. They when they hit that low point, like that's why I think you heard the Candace Parker, because she's the only one who was actually hitting, and she was 3 for 7. Everybody else, 1 for 5, 1 for 4, 1 for 3, 0 for everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
if Chicago falls into that pattern, which it seems like a 3-guard lineup that can switch, tends to put Chicago in that position, can they overcome that type of shooting? That's the question that I have, because I don't know if Courtney Vandersloot and Quigley can do it.
Okay. I want to bring up a point real quick, too. I'll tell you a bigger glaring issue with the Aces. Look at their losses and who they lost to. They actually just reached 500 versus the top 5 teams in the power rankings. Before then, they had a losing record against them. If you look at their schedule at the beginning of the season, they was beating the teams that they were supposed to beat. Think about it. They lost early to Washington. You know what I mean? So that's a glaring loss. I mean, something glaring to glare about as far as the Aces. I think they're 6-6 now, or 5-5 against the powerhouses, against I want to say the Ace, Chicago, Washington, Seattle, and Connecticut. They're like combined 5-5 records. So that's something to really be concerned about going forward, because if they're going to be even against these teams that's contending for the championship, and especially how they started out 13-2, and then you've seen how the schedule changed for them when they started going against those type of teams. It kind of be like, oh snap, give you a little bit of cause for concern. I think they're actually 0-2 against Washington. I think they're probably 2-1 now against
strong team. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's more glaring than just somebody than a team just missing shots because I mean, you're right, Chris. You're 100% right, and that's why I value your opinion when it comes to basketball, man. Because you're definitely right about that. But that's something different because all you got to do is make adjustments, get in the gym more, and shoot, and everything like that. And especially when the ball leaves your hand anyway, it's only going to do two things: make, miss. You know what I mean? But when the Vegas and the more concerning thing is the bench, the lack of, and also Chicago has a way better bench. They got 7 players between 15 and 9 points per game. 7 players. So I think that Chicago is in a really, really, really good spot, going forward to finish out this season. 2 weeks left, 9 games left for everybody, and I don't think having bad offense is going to be is an issue as they are the second team in the league as far as offense points per game, averaging 85 points per game. I think that they'll figure it out.
All right. No, I like that take. I agree. I just wonder if it's more that everybody gives up to give the Aces their best shot.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, because just how they started out and everything, but the Aces and the Connecticut Sun over the past years had championship rosters, but also didn't go to the championship. So I think that Chicago's in the right spot. You got to understand, like, because the way the game is going, just like in the NBA, like now is getting more to an open style of play, and that's why I love Chicago so much, man, because they got that European style of offense where you got Emma Meesman. You got Emma Meesman who can play multiple positions. You got Candace Parker who could play multiple positions as well. They all can shoot, they all can pass, they all can defend. So I think that Chicago, y'all just chill for a minute. It's all good. You know what I mean? I really think that they're going to be there at the end. Even though I went for Vegas last night, Chicago is just dangerous though. And then I guess y'all mentioned it, but also with Vandersloot coming off a concussion, she's only playing 1-on-1. She wasn't even in basketball shape yesterday, so that's why it didn't
go. She looked horrible, to be honest.
It didn't go well for her. You know what I mean? But that's just all part of the game. Give her a couple more games under her belt, she'll be back to her ways and things of that sort. And Chicago will be marching. They'll get right back to peak performance at the right time, man.
All right. I want to get Jasmine in here. Jasmine, good morning. Thanks for popping up
Good
here.
morning. Good morning. Yeah, I just wanted to hop in and piggyback off too. Like I'm not really concerned or worried about Chicago. I think one thing that we can note is that like someone came up here earlier and was talking about Vandersloot and like and how's she gonna come back? She's 33. Listen, the woman just had a concussion and this is a high profile game. And so even with that being said, you still have Chicago winning these quarters and damn near winning the game, quite honestly. And I don't Chicago still has a lot of way to go to reach their ceiling. I'm not really concerned. You have us going Candace could go scoreless against the Sparks. You have Vandersloot struggling and even as the game was going on, you see she was picking back up. I don't think that the Aces are going to be able to rely on Kia Stokes consistently. I still think they need to figure out how to get the rest of their bench involved. But I will say I was absolutely proud of them and impressed that they decided to pick it up on the defensive end. I remember it was like toward the third or fourth quarter, like someone was talking about the threes. I think it was you, Chris. I think the issue both in the first quarter and in the times where the Aces were able to pull away is that the Chicago sky allowed the Aces to get them away from their game. I remember at the beginning of the game, you just have the Aces running and gunning, and we're coming down the court, turning the ball over and chucking up threes. And that's not really our game. That's not how we get set into the flow of the game at the beginning of these games throughout the season. And so you have James Wade in a timeout basically saying, like, no more threes. Like, even if you have a wide open shot, you need to take it to the hole. And as you see in the third and fourth quarter, every time we did that until like the end of the fourth when Asia was just getting the majority of her blocks in, you had us having success. And so, and with all that being said, I don't think, and I'm not just saying this as someone who is a Chicago fan, but honestly, I don't think that the Aces could take the Sky in a 5-game series. And so I don't think that the Sky have anything to be worried about. The Aces do have something that they could take with them. I know they want to, they have a little chip on their shoulder now, but this game at the end of the day doesn't count for the standings. It doesn't count for the season. And so we'll see them in the playoffs. That's all I have to say right now. But CP don't need to be freed. Whoever that was pissed me off earlier up here. I'm like, what?
Hey,
I don't know. I don't know if
He
he was
he he
trolling.
just
He
he
probably was
wants her to
trolling.
be he wants her to be free to go play for the Aces. That's what it is.
Yeah, but we're gonna give him the old drum roll. That was crazy.
Oh,
I was
sh-
like, hold up, I couldn't hop on then, but I was like, all right, well, hold on, let me get some time to hop up on here. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Thanks for letting me come up here.
always, Jasmine. Anytime. Pickup card game is here as well. What's up, Chi? How you doing? And what are your thoughts from last night?
What's good, Chris? What's good, everybody in the space? Yeah, I have to jump at 11 o'clock, but just had to quickly come up here and, um, well, one cosign. I think Danny's point about making that switch with having Hamby come off the bench. I think that's exactly what the Aces need, right? Hamby's a great basketball player, and she has been that sixth woman before in the past, so she can kind of fill that role. You can still play her starter minutes, but I think to start the game off and give you a bit more flexibility, I would love to see the Aces start to play with that lineup more often with Kia Stokes next to Asia Wilson. That's number one. Number two, yeah, we are going to see this matchup in the finals. I think we as fans, we all want that. I think it'll be a very fun series. It'll be back and forth, adjustments, right? I talked a lot about how in the finals, the NBA finals last time, there were times where I felt like the team which won the first quarter, which came out fast, often could hold that lead the whole entire game. If we take out that first quarter, right, it's a much closer game. Obviously, you can't talk about things in a vacuum. My point is that over a 5-game series, we are going to see lots of back and forth and really some good basketball. So I'm pumped about that. But just want to quickly co-sign Danny's point about that little switch, which will make the Aces a much more dynamic team going forward. Thanks, Chris.
No, absolutely. Thank you. And then I hope that today is another successful day. You got anything new coming up? Because I know you just did the barnstorming for the summer. I wanted to make sure you could tell the people if you got something new over at slamgoods.com with the pickup card game or what you got going on for your next travel adventure.
Yeah, for sure. So right now we're working on the second edition. So the first edition we are done making those. Those are done being printed. So we'll have a final number how many are out there. But second edition we'll have a few small tweaks, new characters. We'll have bigger font on the card. So small things to make the game more accessible. We'll definitely do that. So I'm in the lab right now, Chris, just trying to get things ready because we want to make pickup the game for Christmas, the stocking stuffer for Christmas. So right now I'm back in the lab with my product development hat on, but I'll be back on the road doing sales hopefully in the fall. Um, the fall is a fun time because you have lots of people who I think have some time before basketball restarts, and so we'd love to get some players involved in what we're doing. We got a few names in mind, which I can't say quite yet, but definitely we're trying to work with tons of player foundations to spread the game of pickup and help people just be engaged and enjoy basketball through a card game.
All right. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you an update. I have found 808s. He just had a bagel.
oh snap!
Maybe he'll get up in here. We got to hear him. Up next, though, we're going to hear from another passionate Las Vegas Aces fan, Jose. What's up, Jose? Appreciate you coming back in again today. What do you have from last night's game?
What's going on, my guy? Good morning to everybody. Appreciate you letting me speak for a bit, man. You're doing great stuff with this space, man. Keep it going. Please don't stop. As for the Aces, man, obviously, yes, great to see them bounce back and win the way that they did. I know someone said that this game doesn't mean anything in the standings, correct, but this game means everything to these players for this season because you got to understand, for the Aces to have started the way they started this year and then start to dip a bit before the All-Star break, lose that seeding where they could have won or played this game at home, for them to have to go on the road because Chicago had the better record, to have to play this game on the road and play the way they did, I think was good. But the problem is, and we're still not talking about it, the Aces have a lot of mental defensive lapses. They got outscored in the second quarter. They got outscored in the third quarter. Not by much, but they get outscored, and that's the problem. When they take big leads, they tend to give up their leads as well. They let teams go on a run. Chicago went on a 8-0 run in the second quarter, 10-0 run in the third quarter. I mean, you cannot let these type of teams go on those type of runs, because if that's the case, you're going to have to win by 10. You're going to have to score a lot more points because you're giving up way too many points. Again, last night was fun to watch, but when you only have two players coming off the bench that are giving you 2 points, 3 points combined, but yet, yes, the rebounds are coming from Repair. We see what she can do. She needs to get some more playing time. She's a great body in there. But it goes back to what I said yesterday before the game. They need to find a way to use their bench a lot more. Again, a 10-point victory is great, so it's kind of hard to try to find negatives in it, or things that you see. But if you're watching the game as a whole, the Aces still have issues on the defensive side of the ball. Going back to what I said, when you give up that many type of runs throughout a game, that will hurt you. They can't adjust as good with these runs. When they make switches and they bring out certain players and they sit their stars, things change. Sometimes some people coming off the bench can shoot a lot better, or they can match up better with other teams and other players. But yet, I don't think that Becky's seen that just quite right just yet. Offensive, again, she understands the offensive side of the ball, but I don't think that she still understands the defensive side of the ball. Somebody said earlier as well, if this team gets into the finals and they have to play Chicago in a 5-game series, I agree. I think Chicago can take them. I think Chicago is just more seasoned and experienced the way that they're playing. And after winning the chip last year, when not too many people expected them to, and then starting as hot as they have been right now and just being right there 1-1 with the Aces, I think the Aces are in trouble, man. Call me crazy. Again, 10-point victory. I totally understand that. But you got to look at the whole picture, man, and the way that they're playing. And I still think that they are in trouble. If any of you guys are up today, around 7 o'clock on the East Coast, or if you're here 4 p.m. on the West Coast, I will have Brian Salmon, NBC News 3 lead sports anchor out here in Vegas, on my show today. And he's covers the Aces out here. So we'll be talking Aces big time. So yeah, man, just we'll see how the rest of the season goes, but I'm going to stick with it. I still think that we are in trouble, and I still think that the defensive side of the ball needs to be fixed ASAP. Appreciate you, my guy.
Absolutely.
Do you think it's Jose? Do you think it's the schemes that they're running, or do you think they just don't have the personnel to keep up, depending on the matchup? Because I know in the post game you have Asia. Like, I'm wondering if it is, like you said, is it Becky just not enforcing it or pushing it hard enough, or
So
is it
you
the
know, you
players not realizing it? Because you have Asia like, oh, well, defense does win championships. Well, she won before. You know what I mean? So I'm just curious, what are you seeing on that end of it?
my thing about it, and people are probably gonna call me crazy for this. I'm a big De'Arica Hamby fan, but I honestly think that it's time for her to go back to the bench and start coming off the bench. And I think you need to start someone like Rupert or Kia Stokes alongside with Asia Wilson. I think that's gonna work a whole lot better. Think about it. They try to do that when they brought Liz here, right? They try to have the twin towers. They try to have two big bodies underneath, and it didn't work. Obviously, we knew Liz's situation and whatever she was going through, but I honestly feel that either Rupert or Kia Stokes starting next to Asia Wilson and bringing De'Arica Hamby back off the bench not only will help that team, but it's also going to help De'Arica. If we're being honest, De'Arica's not having that great of a season. She's been up and down throughout the year and hasn't been able to be consistent. There's been times where she, I think, scored 2 points in the game this year, which is unacceptable for her. So I think her taking a step back, playing into a position that she's comfortable and used to. She won the sixth woman of the year 2 years in a row. So I think that her taking a step back wouldn't necessarily be a step back. It'll be getting back into her comfort zone. And then also trying to see what else you can do with the players that you already have on the squad. And going with the schemes, I don't think Becky Hammon can match up well with a lot of teams in the NBA. She can't figure it out. Again, it goes to when teams make adjustments. There's times where other teams go small on the Aces and the Aces can't figure it out. And these teams are running around them in circles, and it's crazy. So I think, again, yes, Becky Hammon isn't good at figuring out schemes or matching up correctly when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. But again, I need to see some change and some shift. There's nothing wrong with changing up the offense a bit. It's only one player, and it's one player that really isn't affecting your offense all that much. So we'll see. But I want to see some changes, man. I've been covering this team since day one, and I've said a lot about it every year when they look good. I'm like, I've even said it. I think this will be the first team that brings a chip to Vegas, professional before anyone. I mean, this looked and started like it could have been the season, but again, you have to play a full season, and they have to figure it out. And they're draining their players way too much at the end of the day, too.
Yeah,
I
I agree.
uh, feels that they needed to
Kia
draft
Stokes.
instead of Kirsten Ball, but that's just me. Bell, what do you got, DA?
Yeah, no. He's right. And I've been talking about Dearica Hamby coming off the bench on many podcasts. I just think that it's not a demotion. I actually think that it's a promotion to go back and be the sixth woman again. I think that when she is in that role, she's one of the best players on the floor, and that's all you want pretty much. And it answers the defensive issues. It answers the bench depth that the lack of they have. I think also with that when Becky Hammond came in, they didn't address that when they decided, hey, we're going to start Dearica Hamby. They didn't address that at all, and so that's why I think it bites them in the hind parts. You know what I mean? When the games get close and everything. With the Aces, that's like a team like they got to blow you out to win because if the game get close, you know what I mean? Their starting five is going to be real tired. And with Dearica, the issue also is like they run plays for her too as well, and that's not her type of game. Her game is she's more of a Sean Marion type. If you want to compare player, she's more of a Sean Marion type of player, somebody that you don't have to run plays for, but who can also, still be effective. And Jose, I'm gonna check out your spaces later on today, brother. Shout out to, Vegas is my second home. I went to college in Southern Nevada. I played my college basketball there. I used to live off Cheyenne and Pecos in North Las Vegas for 2.5 years. So that's my home right there. I used to hang out with the Mexicans and everything.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's what's up, my guy. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
If Chris is cool with it, I'll post it on the Jumbotron here in a second. But yeah, it's a live podcast. We are in the studio. It's on the radio network. And it's 4 p.m. every Wednesday, man, on the West Coast. So I'll definitely post it up there. Appreciate you.
Yeah, but Vegas got a lot of issues, man. And I think they should have played. I thought yesterday, you know what? It's just crazy because it's just a lot of money riding on it. And with the $500,000, because I'm like, man, they should have used their bench more, give their bench players a chance. I don't know how you got somebody who averaged 25 a game 2 years in a row in college at Florida Gulf Coast and Kirsten Bell, and you're not playing her. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I don't know. I don't understand. 6'1". So she is, a forward size, but she's actually a shooting guard. I know she can help somewhere. You know what I mean? So I just think that I don't know what's going on with Becky. I just think that she's probably like, you just don't trust rookies like where she came from with the Spurs system and everything. So,
he opened up pretty rough, man. Like, I think she opened up the season going literally 8 for 25.
Nah, she ain't ready yet. She ain't ready. I watch her play. It's too much for her right now. Sometimes she looks like a deer caught in the headlights when she plays. I like her size and everything, but she's not ready yet. She might need to go out there. She's good for garbage minutes. Jose said everything pretty much I said. I'm not as worried as Jose is because defense is a mindset. And you have to constantly be locked in. Asia said that. Their mindset is, I think they get comfortable with blowing people out. And then, like everybody who gets a lead, they relax. And then at that point, then they panic. And you have to keep your cool. And that's what they were able to do. When they got down by 7, that's when they normally panic. When Sky got down by 7, but they didn't panic. They kind of got relaxed. Becky didn't have to call as many timeouts as I thought she was going to call. She let them figure out. That's where Gray came in. Gray came out and scored when they needed, or they finally ran stuff. But sometimes they get caught up in their own head instead of just trusting themselves, trusting the offense, trusting the defense, and playing with patience. And their bench problem, this is where the bench problem is. When they put the other 2 players in there with somebody like Kelsey and Young, like I said earlier, them 2 chicks got to learn how to run the offense. And I think once Wakanda gets back into shape, because she's been out for most of the season, she's barely played 11 or 10 games. I think that's where the extra scoring comes, because Wakanda can score when she needs to. She can get good shots. She has great shot potential. Like you said, Repair come from France over Europe, so she's not used yet, but I like her. But I do agree, Kia needs to come off the bench. And Dearica is not a really offensive player. She's really not. When she gets that ball in her hand, she be trying to get rid of it real quick, in my opinion. But I hear everything Jose's saying. Hope you post that his stuff up in the Jumbotron. I'll definitely be able to listen to it. I would definitely like to hear their thoughts on it too. So.
Yeah, let me get IG, no IG Bran up here, and let me get Rico Suave. Ladies and gentlemen down below, thanks for cruising through the first hour of Hoop Spaces on your hump day, talking the Commissioner's Cup. We'll be getting ready to switch over to the NBA as we got news that Colin Sexton is likely to turn down a 3-year, $40 million qualifying offer. Rumors about Carmelo Anthony to the Dubs, and Mark Price versus Fred VanVleet as the one-on-one today. No IG. Go ahead, man. What you got?
I was kind of wondering, what more do we want out of Becky Hammond? She kind of displayed, not kind of, but my biggest question with the Aces was, would they be able to get defensive stops from another big? And I think she had to find that out. That team had to find that out for themselves last night, and I think they did. So I think that was actually a defining moment for the Aces. I'm pretty sure anybody that has watched them can tell. There are games like when the Sky came back, was it 28 down? The Liberty came back on them, I think like right before the All-Star break and stuff like that. So people obviously seen, they have like holes in the defense, interior defense, but with the way that Becky Hammond, her X's and O's, her IQ, um, I think that's what she brings to the WNBA game that people aren't used to. I hear a lot of people saying they're not necessarily happy, not too happy with Becky Hammond, but if this team wasn't doing as good as they're doing now, I think people would have a real reason to not be happy. But she has her starting five. I mean, Derek Hamby, it probably ain't as strong as the other four, but she has a starting five that if this team is 500 right now, she doesn't have a job. So I'm really impressed with the adjustments that the Aces made. I think the Aces just flat out won. I had a question to myself if the Aces won or if the Sky lost. After this discussion this morning, I believe the Aces just flat out won, and I think they proved to us why they are the strongest team in the league, based off the ability to make those adjustments.
All right. Hey, do us a favor. Shoot everybody on stage a follow. We do this Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. most days. Sometimes I take a 3-day weekend. And if you want more W coverage, make sure you shoot a follow to the 94 by 50 women's basketball podcast. Follow Jasmine, by the way. She does phenomenal work. I didn't bring this up because I don't know sometimes how. Oops, I hit my mic. I didn't bring it up because I don't know how sometimes people want to be introduced, but she does a great job over at the Women's Sports Foundation. If you don't know what that is, they literally just do nothing but put women first in sports. So shoot her a follow. K. Lou is also a great follow to cover women's basketball as well. Shout out to everybody who's come in and come out. Oh, Unhyped Athletics is down there as well. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to actually do something where you can take action to help out women in athletics. Follow Unhyped Athletics and head over to Instagram as well and see what he does there because he puts a light and a camera and gets the faces out to the masses. Saint from Nets Kingdom is down below. Young Harriet is in the building, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to thank you. We'll go ahead and go to Rico Suave to see what he has for the W. We'll give DA and the 94 by 50 a last word so they can plug their podcast. And then we'll go ahead and switch back over to the NBA. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. Rico, what's up?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Chris. Uh, I had watched the game last night. I think the Aces got off to a very good start. Uh, I was entertained by the game. I'm not gonna lie because the first quarter, honestly, I was like, "Damn, this is gonna be a blowout." But nah, the Chicago Sky clamped down on defense. They were pressuring the ball handlers, forcing the Aces to either kick it out sooner or just create turnovers or late shot clock attempts. And I was just really fascinated how they were able to clamp both and just change their whole defensive scheme. And then also, uh, they went to what had worked when I had saw their game against the Dallas Wings in terms of attacking the paint more, and they just went straight at the Aces in the paint, and it was just like, where's the defense? The Aces, I feel like they really benefited from a very fast start, getting their rhythm Kelsey Plum being able to shoot threes, lights out, and then AJ Asia Wilson, my bad, was able to get her shot going early as well, and I really love her ability to make those post moves and get the rebounds, and I really love her ability to shot block. Um, Other than that, I mean, I can't really say too much because I'm just getting into the W, so these are still like these two teams are still new to me, so I'm just going off of what I saw last night. But I think the Aces were the clear winner, and even though the Chicago Sky was able to bring it within 10 to end the game, I was just like, man, this is cheap buckets right here. But they showed the mindset that you have to have throughout the entirety of the game, that you just keep pressing forward regardless of the box score. So I really enjoyed last night's game. I can't wait to watch Chicago Sky and the Aces again in the playoffs.
All right, look at that. One day at a time, one fan at a time is how you grow the game. And I do want to give some shout outs to some people in the W who are actually trying to attempt that. It's hard, it's a different life. Jose, 30 seconds, real quick. I see that you posted your link up there. We'll close out the W topic today with DA from the 94 by 50.
Oh yeah, real quick. I just wanted to say we're talking about the Aces defense, this, that, real quick. I know 30 seconds. The Chicago Sky missed 8 3-pointers in the first quarter. I know the Aces had a big first quarter, but how much of that game was really the Aces playing defense, and how much really was it that they missed so many threes to start the game that hurt them in the first quarter? Other than that, thank you again for letting me talk, my guy. My stuff's up on the Jumbotron. If anybody wants to follow, like, share, we'll go from there. I greatly appreciate you guys.
Absolutely, and can't wait to get you back in here, especially during the playoff time, because we know that the Aces are going to be there, and the more voices we have that know what they're talking about, the better. We don't need that space from you 2 days ago. That was something else. If you don't know, the baby probably has been fed by now, and if you growl at me, you will no longer receive a point. 94 by 50 is one of the top 25 with basketball podcasts that you can listen to. Daniel Artest and Kevin Lewis, K. Dot, are the two voices behind that platform. DA, tell them your next episode, and congrats on the growth that you've had when you shifted to the W, man. I can't be more happy for you.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. And it's actually, the X is silent. Is just basically keeping it 9450, the 9450 Women's Basketball Network. You know, that's all it is. I know everybody says 94 by 50 because of the X's in there, but the X is like the G's just move silent. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to just clear that up real quick. But yeah, just want to say thanks for everybody for, supporting what we're doing over here at 9450. We just decided to just, myself and K-Dot, two dudes, because we know the men, they be wilding in the comments every time women talk back when it's basketball talk for the ladies and everything. So we just decided like, hey, we're just going to do our thing and just support them and everything, because it's just basketball to us, to be honest, man. You know, it's fun, and we have a lot of fun doing it and everything like that. I dropped an episode previewing the Commissioner's Cup. That's out. I dropped the episode with Brittany Sykes. That's out as well. We really just drop episodes whenever we can. We got people covering the Aces for us, and we got people covering the Mystics. So whenever they get their audio, they drop it. So we just randomly drop it. But our main show, the one with me and K. Dot, normally drops every week. Tonight we will be on Zoom, and I'm feeding it through Twitter Spaces. We have Erica McCall coming in to talk about, we're going to recap the Commissioner's Cup, talk about her a little bit and her podcast and everything. Because I actually have a third podcast where I talk to other podcasters about their journey. So I'm going to actually kind of mix the two in, since, she's a part of the, women's basketball community and stuff like that. So that's all. And I got some other guests trying to confirm. So I'm just waiting on a response back to them. I have a super duper legend. Just waiting for her to respond. And then I got another current player that's actually having a great season as well, that wants to go that wants to come on the show, and I'm just waiting for her to respond. And also, hey Chris, you forgot one thing about before we move on to the NBA, and I'm gonna switch and I'm gonna actually come back in underneath my personal podcast. Draymond Green, brother, is actually looking for a max contract and is willing to go outside the Warriors if he doesn't get a max contract from the Warriors. So that's another wrinkle right there, man.
Yeah,
Let's go, Mavs.
I
Let's
can't,
go.
I can't wait. I can't wait for that protracted negotiation. 9450 Women's Basketball Podcast. I'll try my best to drop the by. I'm just used to saying it because I see the X, like you said. Make sure you shoot him a follow.
I might just fix it and just take the X out and just make it simple for everybody. That's what I might just do. But thanks, brother. I appreciate you.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm happy for you and K Dot, man. You're doing great. I listened to when you first popped in here. I listened to the episode that you had just dropped. Too many podcasts to keep up with.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, come back when you can. All right. Thanks everybody for popping in and sharing for the first hour plus the recap of the Sky versus the Aces, the Commissioner's Cup. Kathy Engelbert, she's either got a good social media intern or she's been paying attention as she decided to troll everybody with an even smaller presentation of a smaller trophy. To Kelsey Plum. I get it. Tongue in cheek. You know what? I roll with the punches. I'm going to give you a point. Fix the damn app. You got 12 teams. Fix the app. It ain't difficult.
And can I apologize to the LA Sparks?
Sure.
I am sorry. I did not know what y'all were going through. I knew what I was going through with Liz. And I totally now see what Asia said she was disconnected last season. I totally understand it now. I'm just sorry. Just that's all I got. And mental health, my butt. It ain't mental health. Some people are just made that way. That's all.
She gonna have to drop that. She gonna have to drop that because you
Thank you.
you can't be putting that on no mental health. You already got enough. They talking about mass shooters, mental health, Liz, mental health. Nah. You just ain't you full of shit. That's all it really is.
Hey, as a Sparks fan, I just want to say thank you.
We're here for you.
It's Sparks fans are so lucky they got out of Derek Fisher and now they got out of the Liz campaign. Like, how much more luck
Let
do you?
me just say there got to be something going on. I don't know if it's just Magic Johnson. I don't know if it's that ownership group. There is no way the Sparks should be sputtering like this. I see Magic's over in Capri or wherever. Like they gotta fix this. I mean, it's ridiculous. You in the second biggest market in the U.S. You got a legendary team, one of the first teams, and y'all just can't get nothing right. Y'all hired Fisher without interviewing nobody else. You know what I mean? No, I'm sorry to the Sparks. I'm sorry. It's a sad state of affairs. And free NECA. That's all I gotta say.
They'll be back. Like that. That's the one thing with 12 teams. Everything is cyclical. And it's on a quicker time scale. So they'll be back sooner than later. All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming in. Now, if you look up top, some of it has changed. We got Sexton possibly saying no to his qualifying offer. Rumors about Carmelo Anthony to the Dubs. And you heard Daniel Artest. Something about Draymond wanting a max contract. I tell you what, Draymond, I want the foundation fixed in my house as well. And right now, it just ain't happening. But shout out to you, Dre. For real, your podcast is taking off, and you are a 4-time champion, and nobody can take that away from you. And I've preached the value of you for the Golden State Warriors. I just don't see a max contract. Oh, hey, all right, we got a new person up here. We will go ahead and introduce them. Every day, be it like water at London Knows. I take it your name is London. What's up, London? How you doing?
Hey man, I'm good. I want to talk WNBA, but y'all moved past that. So do your thing. Thanks for having me.
I'll give you your take, bro. Go ahead.
It's a couple people in here that knew a couple days ago, all about the Sparks. I didn't know they was going through that either. I'm a big advocate for Cam Bays, as everybody know. I can't take up for her no more either. She didn't like being in Tulsa. She stayed away a season there. Didn't want to come back to the Wings during the wobble. Then she said she wanted to be in LA since a rookie. I can't take up for her. Another thing, nobody spoke about, like I listened to a couple spaces and stuff, but nobody spoke about how the Aces had incentive more than the Sky. We can talk X's and O's all we want, but those two coaches are two of the top coaches in the league. What I said was Asia and Plum, they're probably two of the biggest dogs in the league, for sure. Then on top of that, they got a record broken on them the last time they played. 28-point comeback. The last time they got a record broken on them was by Sabrina, 30-point triple-double. Came back, smacked them right in the mouth in the first quarter, just like they did the Sky, which I thought they would. Another thing nobody brought up, their top three reserves didn't play in either of those games. So Becky Hammond, she could go back and look at the games and say, hey, we seen this look. We know what they can bring at us, but we got boom, 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 and boom. They haven't seen them yet. So I feel like it was more so of incentive. Another thing, too, I thought about, if I'm the Sky and I know I'm still getting $10,000, I just won a championship not too long ago. How much heart, how much, effort was going into them really wanting to win that ship? On the flip side, you got an Aces team who wants to be where the Sky is at, who should have been where the Sky is at 2-3 years ago. So they had that fire in them as well. But yeah, that's all I want to say about that game, though.
All right, man. Appreciate it. I would say the competitive aspect is there. They won the last three quarters. They just started out flat. That's it. But appreciate your take, and anytime that you want to come on in, man, let us know and request a mic. All I ask is that you shoot us a follow. That's the only currency we get here as Spaces host. All right, Sexton saying no to the qualifying offer. 3 years, $40 million by the Cavs. It is not official. It's expected. Why is that? Because the man just came off of 20 plus seasons. He was expecting a $20+ million contract, and unfortunately, just 11 games into the season last year, he went down with a season-ending injury. I, full disclosure, am a huge Colin Sexton fan. Ever since high school, I have followed this kid. He played famously 5-on-3 Alabama and nearly won the game. The man walked into the Brooklyn Nets locker room, walked by every player, including Kevin Durant, slapped Kyrie Irving on the foot and told that man, lace him up because you about to get this work. And he gave him that work. Now, Brooklyn won that game. He gave him that work. Colin Sexton is a top 40 offensive player in this league. If he signed that deal, that's 3 years of control of a phenomenal offensive player. I expect him to sign the actual qualifying, the original qualifying. Well, no, decline the qualifying offer and sign into that $8.439 million final year of his deal, and he'll be an unrestricted free agent next year. Carmelo Anthony being rumored to be possibly heading to three places: a replay with the Lakers, possibly back in New York, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, quite possibly with those Golden State Warriors. Also, just coming across the wire, Brittany Griner has testified at her trial in Moscow in regards to drug trafficking, where she's saying that her rights were not explained to her during the arrest. I am going to tell you, you are going to hear that, you are going to think a certain way. Every thought you have needs to be put on pause. It is a different country with different laws, different interpretations, and more importantly, they don't have the same protections as we do. So maybe it was not explained to her liking in detail. I guarantee you they are going to say that it was explained. If you do not remember, she is looking at up to 10 years in jail as she pleaded guilty to the charges of bringing in cannabis oil or hash oil. Resetting after that, shout out to everybody down below, and a big shout out to a dope sports fan. That's Mr. JP Manahan across the seas. If you follow him and you see the shots, he is always out and about watching all of the great sports that he has in his area. Huge basketball fan. Malika Walker of The Rewind is in the building. She has got a huge show planned for you. In fact, she's got a huge month of April planned for you. So if you need some content that isn't basically covering day to day. She's going to have a special guest coming in. I don't want to spoil the surprise. Saint from Nets Kingdom, if you need some YouTube action with some Brooklyn Nets that are actually good Brooklyn Net fans, check out Saint from Nets Kingdom and Nets Kingdom AJ. All right, there we go. Rico Suave, CJ the Athletic, Jose, Dany D, and Jay the Wakandan Tech Support join every day. Be like water and myself up on stage. If you want a mic, go ahead and request one now. We'll go to CJ as the new man on the block. Welcome back. Good morning. If you want to give a 30-second, take for the Commissioner's Cup, have at it. If not, thoughts on Colin Sexton, thoughts on Carmelo as a Dubs fan, and more importantly, who wins in this one-on-one matchup? Mark Price versus Fred VanVleet. CJ, go ahead.
Appreciate that, Chris. Good morning to everyone in the room. As far as the Commissioner's Cup, I don't have much to say because I wasn't unfortunately able to watch. But I was wrong, and the Las Vegas Aces won it, so that's pretty cool. But as far as Colin Sexton, um, it's interesting to me because I feel like his situation's a little odd as far as the fact that, like, I know Cleveland played well without him, and I know they planned on bringing back Rubio, which they did do, but I feel like it's odd that he hasn't gotten as much traction within free agency as I expected him to, even early, like before the whole chaos of KD asking for his trade and everything. Like, I just figured there would be at least a couple of teams out there that would maybe like be quicker to jump and pounce on him and try to get him on their roster, or at least try to do the whole bidding war or whatnot. As far as Melo to the Dubs, um, I said this in the chat earlier, but like I think that's just a lot of just reports of writers wanting the Warriors to add another vet in the locker room, but I highly doubt that they want to add somebody like Melo just because they do have Jordan Poole who can score off the bench. I don't necessarily believe that they need somebody like Melo off the bench to do what he does. I don't think that makes a lot of sense as far as fit. And then as far as Mark Price versus Fred VanVleet, I'm giving the edge to Mark Price. That's no disrespect to Fred VanVleet. I just think that Mark Price is a better player, and so I think he would win it out against Fred VanVleet. Um, and then somebody mentioned the whole thing about Draymond wanting the max contract. Chris, if you do end up talking about that specifically later, I definitely have my 2 cents on that. But yeah, like I said, Colin Sexton thought it was odd that he hasn't gotten signed yet. With Melo to the Dubs, I think that's just an anonymous GM who's out there just saying that the Warriors should add another vet. Don't think they'll do it. And then I got Mark Price over FVV.
All right. Well, we are definitely going to bring up the Draymond convo, but maybe after we get done with some of the other speakers. If you look up top, though, and you want to be involved, Draymond Green wants 4 and 140. Drop a gift with your thoughts, and let's see where the conversation leads us. We'll go next to my man, Jose, a.k.a. Paradox Killer 23. That's the handle. You want to follow 1/3 of 77 spaces with Speak On It Rolo and Scammer Sultan. Jose, your thoughts? Sexton to Dallas was a great idea that I had, but that was prior to the Christian Wood trade. Trading for Christian Wood seemed to have knocked Dallas out of any other offseason move. But I still think there's a possibility that Sexton could get to Dallas, and I think that would be a fantastic fit. Your thoughts on that, Melo and Dubs, and Mark Price versus Fred VanVleet one-on-one?
Already. So Colin Sexton to the Mavs. I would really love that, of course, just because he's another ball handler and he's a guy who could just really light it up and just relieve some of the pressure off of Dinwiddie and Luca. And I would just love to see a point guard of his magnitude on the Mavs because I think he could get up and down the court like like early Russell Westbrook, in my opinion. So I would really love to see it. I wonder how much we would have to give up though in order to acquire him. But that easily solves one of my main concerns going into the regular season and training camp and all that. But I'm not gonna take too much time on Sexton until anything else gets announced. But Draymond Green is trying to get that Joe Rogan podcast money with his max contract idea. Uh, he's really trying to get a max, and I think Draymond has been loyal enough with the Golden State Warriors, and the Golden State Warriors seem like they want to pay all their players. So I think he's probably going to get that max. I'm not sure if that's the best move for the Warriors going forward, but I'm pretty sure they ain't just going to say, hey, good riddance, bud. But going to 77 Spaces. We'll be back at 6 o'clock later on tonight, Central Time. We don't have too much to talk about, but we'll make it damn sure entertaining because we are the best damn mass space on Twitter. So please join us if you're a Mavs fan, and if you're not a Mavs fan, I mean just come and join the convo. Just sit back and listen and get your popcorn ready, like T.O. said. But other than that, Mike Mark Price, I haven't seen him, Chris, so I'm just gonna have to sit back and listen because I don't want to get the backlash if I say something wrong, and I'd rather not go there. But I appreciate your time, Chris.
Absolutely. My son came in right in the middle of it, so I caught the very beginning. I lost the last 30 seconds, but I'm assuming you did plug 77 Spaces tonight at 6:30 Central.
6 o'clock Central, but either way, be there.
There you go. See, I just had to come back and fix that for you, for me. Yeah, apparently, like he's got work to do, but he has tutoring, and he decided to interrupt the show. Be like, "Hey, when's my tutoring?" Well, after my show. Should have seen the look. He gave me this look, man. Like he really dislikes it when I talk to him like that. All right. Shout out to Rico Suave. Shout out to Speak On It Rolo. And I hope all of you fans in Dallas are staying cool and drinking water because, damn, like streets are melting. We're going to go to Everyday's Like Water. You're up next. And we got a new person up here, T-Ro-Fo. We'll get him involved. Thank you, everybody, for popping in and making Hoop Spaces a part of your day. We also have Dany D and Jay, the Wakandan tech support, who are going to give their thoughts on either Sexton or Mark Price versus Fred VanVleet. And I'm going to tell you now, I think a lot of people are sleeping on Fred. Go ahead, Water. How you doing?
I'm good. I was confused. Everybody was saying Mark Price. I was going to ask you, what are they playing? Because I'm confused at what everybody's saying Mark Price for. It's basketball, right?
Yeah, check it out, right? Like the rules are up there because apparently people on Twitter they have this horrible tendency to just go off on a tangent without really looking at the actual required information. It's 1-on-1, first to 11. Rock paper scissors decides ball best 2 out of 3. Ones and twos, make it take it. 5-second dribble rule and egregious fouls only.
Yeah, I don't know what people are talking about. Fred VanVleet, he's kind of cut from that same cloth as Colin Sexton, them undersized guards who's going to get buckets, who's going to bring down Hart from quarter 1 to quarter 4, whether they're injured or not injured. So give me Fred on that in that one. Colin Sexton, he's so disrespected. I honestly didn't know that the Mavericks were looking at him. I did see that Luka said he was not recruiting. And I think that's the dog in him. And I also think he wants to win MVP, which I think he will. But I honestly think the Lakers probably wanted Colin. I know when he got drafted, LeBron loved Colin Sexton. I was kind of like, dang, you love him so much, but you're jetting to the next team. So I wonder if, these Westbrook rumors and them trying to, move Westbrook is part of the trying to get Colin Sexton, to LA. I'm pretty sure LeBron has ties to somebody, in Cleveland. So that's pretty interesting right there. And the Melo to Dubs thing, I agree with the dude that spoke after me. I think it's just somebody just putting stuff out there. It doesn't even make sense for the Warriors. They don't need to just add a score. That's all Melo can do is score. If Melo was a 3-and-D guy, I would get it. But it makes no sense at all. But that's all I got, though.
All right, appreciate it, man. Next up on here, we got somebody new. Well, not new, but new in terms of speaking today. That's T-Ro-Fo-Sho. Kong 1668 of the Empire of Kongs, if you're into NFTs. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Chris? Clevelandite here. So this really, the topic's really hit my cup of tea here. Mark Price would work Fred Van Vliet over like you wouldn't even imagine. He played in a totally different era, late '80s, early '90s, when you could hand check and do everything. So his stats don't stack up to what Fred has out there for stats. But I think he was a 4-time All-Star. I don't think Fred Van Vliet will ever even touch that. He got one this year. East guards are pretty weak, especially if Kyrie moves over to the West Coast. And when it comes to Sexton's good. It should be interesting to see what the Cavs are trying to do. They're trying to lowball him with some low offers. I think they offered like 3 years, like 47 or something, which wasn't bad. But he's got a lot to do. It's a totally different team now with Garland showing out, and then LeVert came in. I almost would rather have Sexton than LeVert, based on what I saw with LeVert at the end, but he didn't really have time to mesh with the rest of the Cavs roster. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't see the Cavs letting him just walk. So we'll have to see, but I think the Cavs need another probably a wing more than they do a shooting guard, point guard, shoot first point guard as Sexton is. So my thoughts are, Mark Price would totally work over Freddie. See what everyone else's thoughts are on this.
All right. I love Mark Price. I think he was a fantastic player. I think, unfortunately, due to him, he got caught in that changeover. He was great for 5 years, but the league had started to change, and then he started getting injured. And that's a shame. And then the injury didn't have to do anything with, the league changing. It had to do everything with that. He hit 30, but the league was going away from what was actually going to make him, a prominent scorer. His best season, in my opinion, was the 89-90 season. He had 20 points and 9 assists per game. So shout out to Mark Price. I just think people are underselling Fred Van Vliet. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there because I give my take at the end. We've got Daniel. Go ahead. What you got?
The thing is, with Fred Van Vliet averages around 40 to 41% shooting, and Mark Price was averaging high 40s when he was in his prime. That's a huge, big deal when you're looking at how many shots they had up and how many the shot volume and the percentage really matters. And he was really, there was a lot of other great Cavs on that team. You're talking Larry Nance, Hot Rod Williams. So there were some real studs. Plus, he was guarding probably the best point guard out there as well, which probably shortened his career a little bit because he would hustle like Matthew Dellavedova out there on defense as well and just play hard-nosed defense. I think of him as the poor man's John Stockton that could shoot.
I could see that. I think his game was actually more refined than John Stockton. And John Stockton could shoot, not from three, not from deep, but he could shoot. He had a great mid-range game. I actually kind of liken Mark Price to a couple of other players. I'll drop that when we get closer to the end of the show. And if he were alive and playing, and I mean he's alive, but if he were alive in today's NBA, had grown up with today's NBA and training and everything, he would still be in the league, and he would be a phenomenal player, similar to Kyrie Irving without the handles. Really, like he could shoot anywhere. I think he wouldn't have the range as Steph, but I actually think he could shoot better off the dribble. Yeah. All right. Well, I've watched a lot of basketball in my time. So if you're all a Steph fan and you don't like that, go watch some tape. Like Mark Price was legit. We've got Jay the Wakandan or Dany next up on what their thoughts are. We got Shiecko coming up I tell you, man, I don't get jealous often, but he put a picture out that I am jealous of. And no, it's not of the wife, it's of the weather. I am in the midst of pure rain. TJ understands, all of you people who love blue skies understand grayness zaps your energy. And like this dude puts out a picture of perfect weather. And I'm sitting here, why you got to remind me that I got to look out this window and see gray and misery? That's our friend Shiecko. Dany J, you want to hop in here before Shiecko's ready to take over?
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Oh, okay. Send me some rain. I'm looking at brown grass, sir. Okay, just send me some. I'm in Houston. Send me some rain. But I hear you about the Van Fleet. He is a good player, and like you, I've had opportunity to see both of them play. I'm 46, so I remember those games against the Pistons and the Celtics and all that. And Mark Price was that dude. He's an inch shorter if you go by the stats than Van Fleet, but he was a great ball handler. He had that mid range. He, like you said, he could shoot off the dribble. I kind of like added you in the highlight film I found out. If anybody want to look at it, he could get to the hole. He was a great defensive player. Like you said, the injury, that's what really took him down. It wasn't like anything else. The league changed, but it wasn't anything else with the injuries. I'm just going off of memory right now. So, and you kind of helped with that by talking about him a little bit. But yeah, that's what ended up messing up his career. And also too, he was in Cleveland, and the Bulls came, and the Pistons came, and they just couldn't get past him. So at some point, but at the end of the day, yeah, it wouldn't be like a blowout. It would be a very tight game with two different offensive players with offensive mindsets, and that's just the way I look at it. It'll probably go down to like a shot. I forgot what the score would be, but I'll say if we were going up to 10, it'll be like 10-9 or something like that. Just out of my head. It'll be a real close game.
Always first to 11.
Okay.
You'll have to worry about that. 21 is me.
Well, it'll be a close game. That person it wouldn't be like a blowout or anything like that. It'll be a really competitive game, and that I could see probably will go an hour, maybe, in my opinion.
Here's the tip for all of you people who still play basketball and you do one-on-one. If you want to create an aura about you at your Y or wherever you play at, and you do one-on-ones, the next time you do it, tell them you want to 21. Because nobody wants to play one-on-one to 21. But like if you grind that out, trust me, every other game you have against that person is mentally that much easier. Shiecko, making everybody jealous with the dapper beard properly lined up and healthy looking must be that natural oil that he has access to in that wonderful 84-degree weather, clear, breeze coming from the ocean. Man, I am jealous, but you know what? I have rain, and rain is better than what a lot of people have. Shout out to those who are going through the drought. Shiecko, good morning. How are you? Colin Sexton to the Mavs. Your thoughts?
Good morning. I don't mean to gloat, but I am sitting under my tamarind tree. It's a lot of shade, pretty breezy. It feels good. Colin Sexton to the Mavs is something that I would really want to happen, but I guess I'm not an expert at cap space. So I don't know if that can happen, but I feel like the fit is there for it. Athletic slashing guard that can create for himself and others. I'd love to see it. No lie. It'll be a perfect Jalen Brunson replacement. I know we get tired of hearing that name in Mavs Twitter, but that's that's how I see it. I'd love to see the young bull there. Brings a certain flair. The vibes are still kind of immaculate, but I feel like if he's there, they're gonna be impeccable. You know what I mean?
I love that. Kind of immaculate.
Yeah. Also with the Van Vliet versus Mark Price thing, we're talking about two players that I feel just have similar stature and almost similar games. Um,
people are really sleeping on Van Vliet in terms of how good or how well he defends. Also, Mark Price wasn't a scrub at defense as well. So we're really talking about the efficiency versus the inefficiency of Van Vliet. So for that alone, Mark Price is a very efficient shooter. I think his handles are a bit better, but I don't think it's going to be a wash because Van Vliet does have a semblance of a post game. So I feel it's going to be Mark Price 11-9.
All right. If I am the Mavs, this is the following trade offer that I send to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I would send Frank Nicolita the 2026 first round, and I would give them an option to swap in 2028.
It's Frank Ntilikina, but we move.
Wait.
No, it's actually Frank Nicki Minaj, but let's say this. The market for Colin Sexton isn't there to give up 2 first rounders. Let's be real.
Hey, look, I am in cutthroat fantasy leagues, and I'm gonna did one last year. I'm gonna do another one this year. And people oftentimes will reach out and be like, "Dude, why you like this?" And I say because I pay for the player I want. Right? If I am Nico Harrison and I am sitting in my office and I am saying, "Gosh, everybody knows we're one player short here." I pay for the player that I want to fix this problem. And if it's 2 first round draft picks, like I'm starting this Josh Green hype train. Shout out to the Mavs Cool Kids table. It's cool. He can stay on the bench. Give me Colin Sexton. He's young. He fits Luka's age range. If the Cavs are only offering 3 for $40 and he wants $20 million, well, you're about to pay Jalen Brunson $22. Get the trade done. Get the 2 first rounders over there. Give him $20 million and get set and have fun. Because I think him next to Luka, where he doesn't have to have the decision making responsibility, I think that's a deadly combination. And he can be put on the defensive point guard because Luka can guard 1 through 3.
Yeah. Also, you know what? 2 first doesn't seem as bad considering we scout poorly and develop poorly. Our best players actually are undrafted. Maxi, JJ, Dodo. So, fuck them picks.
There you go. Get Colin Sexton. I want to give a big shout out down below to Reece F Baby as Mind of Reece. Now 1/3 of the Mind of Reece podcast. You got to check that out. It's hilarious. And also half of the Mavs Outsiders podcast with Bibbs. He is taking a break from Mavs Twitter because I'm not gonna lie, Mavs Twitter, y'all on one. Like y'all need, like as SJ Basketball would say, chill, because y'all need some help. It ain't doom and gloom over there. You got arguably the top 3 under 25 player in history, and a guy who just came off of a 20-9 campaign, and Christian Wood, and a coach that made y'all change your mind about him, which is amazing, by the way. Because if y'all remember what y'all was saying before you hired him, then like what Richard Pride say, y'all can shut the blank up and have a Coke and a smile. We'll go to Bukhari first, though, because he beat Reece up here. Bukhari, your thoughts on Sexton, Melo to Dubs, Mark Price versus Fred VanVleet, and then we'll give some extra time to my man Reece. Go ahead, Bukhari. Yeah, you know what, man? That's just like, that's bad. That's just bad. I've got I have nothing to say for that. Reece, man, I hope you're ready. I was trying to give you some, time, like 30 seconds, 1 minute, but apparently Bukhari was not done cleaning his room, and we have to wait for him to finish cleaning his room while he's getting yelled at. What do you got for Colin Sexton to the Mavs idea, not signing the qualifying offer, and Mark Price versus Fred VanVleet? Your thoughts?
Okay, first of all, I haven't been up here in a while. Good morning, people. It's crazy that the minute I come up here, someone gets the goddamn horns. Like, Not even a full minute afterwards. Yeah, the whole doom and gloom thing. Please don't get me started on Mavs fans because I go on a rant on this space, and we don't need that this morning. Colin Sexton. I was surprised after a while when free agency first started. I'm like, we just haven't heard any Colin Sexton news at all. Like, I feel like the Cavs would bring him back. Maybe it's on the qualifying offer. I really haven't heard. Maybe someone else has. I haven't heard any news of a sign and trade. But you piqued my interest when you said 2 first-round picks for Colin Sexton. Let me tell you something. Hell no. I'm good. I'm not trying to mortgage any possible future just for Colin Sexton. I understand we in a win now position, but I'm like, Colin Sexton ain't taking us over the top just to pay him $20 million. I don't know, like just to pay him $20 million and give up 2 first-round picks in the process. Where if he signs the qualifying offer,
you're giving up one and the other's a swap. You give one unprotected, the next one is a swap. They can choose the better.
Okay.
So you'll keep a first.
So we giving up 1 first-round pick for Colin Sexton to pay him $20 million, where if he signs the qualifying offer for Cleveland, we have the possibility of signing him next offseason unrestricted and keeping the first-round pick.
Oh, that is true, but then you also run the risk of him going anywhere else because he's an unrestricted free agent.
Hey, that's fine. Screw him. Like,
I knew he was gonna say that. I was like, man, he's just gonna say F it. Sure.
I mean, the chances of us signing anyone of importance in Dallas is like slim to none. Like, you got a better chance of me growing 2 more inches, to be quite honest. So, I mean, we kind of need draft picks at this point, but you could also argue that we need to trade for guys. So, I mean, if they did that, if that was a possibility, would I be upset? No. Granted, since I said I wouldn't be upset, that probably means most Mavs fans would, because it's like I'm just the opposition at this point. Like I think we did pretty well this offseason, and everyone else is like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. We not gonna make it out the first round. We not gonna make it to the playoffs. But this Mark Price versus Fred VanVleet thing, can you catch me up to speed on that? Because this is the first time I'm hearing of this.
Oh yeah, like you've been away. I've done these one-on-one matchups, and it started originally as a joke because Kendrick Perkins had said something about a one-on-one matchup, and I'm just sitting here like, all right, Perk. And the issue is that contextually people have an image in their mind of basketball and NBA, and no matter what you do, their reference will always be on the NBA court, even though they think they can take themselves out and play one-on-one and this and that. One-on-one is an entirely different game. And like Tracy McGrady is starting a one-on-one league, and I grew up, watching one-on-one, and it's a different game. And there are phenomenal matchups that can be had within history of the NBA that those who have seen certain players live can have a contextual conversation about, such as how would JJ Redick fare against Jerry West, right? Well, we had a couple of people who've seen both live, and they're like, hey, JJ Redick would be a great player, in no matter what era, but he's not exceeding the great players of every era. And Jerry West, by I think it was like a 9-1 by people who've seen both of them play, wins because they say if you scale it, he would be better. He wouldn't be Steph Curry, but he would be damn close, right? He wouldn't be Kyrie Irving because he's not going to have the handles of Kyrie Irving. But could you imagine somebody who can shoot, score, and finish like Kyrie Irving, but more of like a straight line dribbler as opposed to an artistic dribbler? And like this is the type of convos that I think are missing within basketball Twitter because you know how it is, man. Like it's all flash, and we want actual convo. So I am picking players whom I think would create interesting one-on-one matchups. Yesterday we had Scottie Pippen and Andrew Wiggins. The day before that it was AD versus Sheed, and then we had J.J. Redick versus Jerry West. And today's Mark Price versus Fred VanVleet. And then, tomorrow might be Derek Coleman. I don't know.
JJ Redick versus Jerry West is actually pretty hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. Actually, JJ Redick versus anyone one-on-one is kind of hilarious. I love JJ Redick, but I will be honest in saying I don't know enough about Mark Price's game to say whether he win one-on-one. So I'll get back to you on that one.
See, now you got to do some research.
But I think this is an interesting conversation. It's not just hot takes, and it's interesting matchups. It's not just, oh man, who will win in a matchup between Tracy McGrady and Kevin Durant? Shut up. Who cares? Like, let's get more interesting about it.
Yeah, well, I mean that also is when you put two of the best next to each other, you run into the stand, and I really don't want to run into the stand on this, right? Like we're gonna get some Fred VanVleet stands, right? Like that's just gonna happen. We're gonna get a Mark. We had a Mark Price stand, like basically with T-Ro-Fo-Sho, right? Like that's awesome, but he did it contextually, whereas in today's generation they just run their mouth, right? Like Bukhari's about to.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I just want to know what you're gonna say because, like younger, like most younger people,
Bro,
go in, blazing.
I'm gonna be for real. The only thing I know about Mark Price is I actually know two things about Mark Price. One, he got owned by Jordan a lot in the 80s and early 90s. And the second thing I know about Mark Price is he has a really nice jump shot in 2K. That's the only thing I know about Mark Price. Also, he's also one of the best free throw shooters ever. So respect him. Respect him.
There you go.
But that shit means nothing in what's it called, in a 1v1 situation, because I don't know who plays free throws in 1v1. It's just fouls. So it doesn't matter. So he's a great shooter. I don't know much about, I don't even see him defend, but I don't really watch Mark Price highlights, but I know that's all I really know. But Fred VanVleet is gonna make him say, "Oh, he's doing witchcraft." Yeah, so that's all I'm gonna say.
He's gonna make him say, "Ooh, he's doing witchcraft." All right, I like it. Never seen Mark Price play, but he's definitively saying that Fred VanVleet is gonna have him do witchcraft. That's good.
Listen, young buck Bukhari. You say Mark Price got owned by Jordan. I would think everyone in that entire era got owned by Jordan. So, it is what it is. It was more Craig Elo got it more than Mark Price. He wasn't.
Yeah, thank you, Craig
I think
Elo.
it was the entire team that got, like if you have a lot of siblings, they get the share of the beating. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a shared effort of getting their ass kicked. So it's okay. Nothing wrong with that because it's Michael Jordan. But
they didn't really get their ass beat. I would say the Cavs took them down to the wire.
Yeah, fun fact. The Bulls really beat up on the Western Conference. To get to the Eastern Conference Finals was often harder for the Bulls than winning the finals. Fun fact about history. We're gonna go to Eddie and get his voice in here. Eddie, what's up? Good morning. We have Sexton possibly saying no to the QO. We have Melo maybe to the Dubs, maybe not. But more importantly, we have Mark Price versus Fred VanVleet. Two people who I think will go down once Fred is done as just completely underrated and underappreciated, lost to the history of those who are, more infinitely popular.
Chris, thanks a lot for putting me up, man. I appreciate that. And I seen Mark Price, and that's probably why you're bringing me up here. But all I gotta say is save the children, Chris. Save the children, because when I heard the witchcraft comment, I just had to laugh. You as usual, you don't mindlessly pick these matchups. You do not sit there and just grab two names out of the hat and say, all right, 1-on-1, who's gonna win. You don't take you don't take those polarizing figures and just match them up together. I always appreciate that about your one-on-one matchups. There is thought behind it. Everybody in the room, there's always thought behind Chris's matchups. But Mark Price is one of those guys that I actually had the liberty of seeing a little bit, and I think, as you said, Chris, he was a guy in his prime that I think I would say his prime was pretty much in those 20s because I don't think he made it to his 30s because of injury, like you said, right? I don't think he made it that far, but this is a guy that was typically a 19, a 18 and 9 guy, a 20, a best year maybe 20 and 9 guy, 20 and 10 guy. Great efficiency, and that's one thing that he always would have over Van Vliet is that he is a way more efficient across the board. I don't care what metrics you want to use. You could go pull up any advanced analytics, whatever you want. This guy was an efficient shooter. This guy was if I think that if he had he was one of those guys that was at the cusp of a 50-40-90 type player before it became cool. So this guy he was a great shooter from everywhere. Like I think like you said before, he wasn't. I don't know about the deep shooting because back then you weren't really allowed to even shoot deep. You'd probably get pulled to the bench. Always remember that he always had that other stud point guard sitting behind him on the bench too, Terrell Brandon, who was another great player that was on that team. That Cleveland team was a great team, but it always got thwarted by Jordan with Darty and Nance, and that was always a great team every year. I think they won 50 games on a regular basis when Mark Price was in his prime. So I would definitely give the edge to my guy Mark. Not to say that I don't love Van Vliet, I love him, but the only reason I'd even give him an edge is because of the efficiency. I just and to think that he played in an era where defense was a little bit more handsy, a lot more hand checking, a lot. So trust me, this guy he would be able to handle Van Vliet's whatever edge he'd have on defense. But as for Sexton with the qualifying offer, he's betting on himself. That was an insulting offer. That this guy is putting up great numbers. He's improved every year. He just had his injury last year, and I think the Cavs thought that they could get away with it probably. Let's get him on a cheap, see if he'll sign. They're going to lose him next year probably, unless they come with a full max offer. So
I agree, and that's why I'm saying if he's going to turn down the 3 for 40, like at his age and what his production was, and if he's healthy, like I don't know why any team that needs that combo guard isn't like 100% all in. All right, everybody, like it's 12:02. I want to make sure that we get Reese up here a quick minute so he can go ahead and plug his next work up here. We'll get final takes from Jay and Danny. And then that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We will be out of here. I'm going to take a little bit of an early day off today, as it's a slow news day, as it is at this time of year. Reese, what do you got coming up for your content? What can we plug for you today?
Of course, always the Mavs Outsiders podcast. Recently released an episode. I'm going to warn anyone right now, if you come for just the Mavericks talk, that's probably not the episode for you. Not a whole lot is going on, but we do get into our personal lives. Not too deep, but Bibbs goes into a story about TSA and how can I say this? Groping. That's
Oh,
the that's the best way I could put it.
that story's hilarious.
That's the best way I can put it. I'm trying to be more consistent with the Mind of Reese podcast, but me and my two other co-hosts, our schedules are just crazy. I have a concept for our next episode. We're each taking our 3 favorite rappers and we're creating albums using songs from all of their albums, 12 songs total. I'm excited about that. I just don't know when it's going to happen. Outside of that, not much going on. Just be on the lookout for Mavs Outsiders content and Mind of Reese podcast content wherever you find your podcasts. And also shout out to Zach from the Off the Glass podcast. Just wanted to give him a quick shout out. Saw his Instagram posts, and so yeah.
Yo, Zach's good people, and he does a great job at Off the Glass, man. All right, we'll get final thoughts from Jay, the Wakandan tech support, and then we'll close out with Danny, and we'll have a great Wednesday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Jay, what you got?
Yeah. Shout out to Colin for betting on himself coming off an injury. Most athletes wouldn't do that. They would negotiate, like a player option for the 3rd year or something like that. But I also think he's looking at the depth of the Cavs and trying to figure out when is he going to play, because how can you earn a bigger contract when you're only playing 18 to 20 minutes a game off the bench? Because that Cavs team is It's not ridiculously deep like the Clippers, but it's close. It's the next level down. Um, him to the Mavs, I see why the Mavs would want to do it, but the thing about Colin is, can Colin accept not being the primary scorer? And that's the only question I have. I mean, he's clearly talented. He clearly can put the ball in the hoop, which is the name of the game. It's just a matter of, would Colin rather be the man on a bad team or the second or third guy on a good team? Mark Price versus Van Fleet. I think Mark Price wins because Mark Price is dangerous, more dangerous in the mid range than Fred. So I don't know how Fred deals with Mark's one dribble, two dribble pull ups. And prime Mark Price is really quick. I mean, you're talking about the guy who invented splitting pick and rolls. Like, so, and it's not that Fred isn't quick. I mean, he's an NBA guard, but Mark Price, for his era, for his peers, was quick enough to invent splitting pick and roll. And I think that's what Fred has a hard time containing is, because he's a white athlete, I have to use the term sneakily athletic. Dealing with that sneaky athleticism, I don't think Fred is equipped to deal with. The interesting thing is, what does Mark do defensively when Fred checks ball, 35 feet from the basket and then just pulls it, right? That's when it becomes interesting, is that can Fred get enough twos to offset Mark's ones? And I think the answer is no. I think it's 11-8 Mark's favor.
All right. Appreciate that. I like that score call too. Dany D, you're up next. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Well, my final thought is that we still got less than 10 games left in the WNBA. It's going to be crazy, especially the bottom half. These women are going to fight it out to get into the playoffs. I hope my Aces can build from that win last night. They play against your Indiana Fever this week, so hopefully they can build from that. The Sky are fine. They're gonna bounce back from that loss last night too. They're a great team and they're coached by a great coach. At the end of the day, you know, all I can say, Sexton's a good dude, a good player. I'm surprised the Spurs didn't get him. My husband was looking to try to get him for his Spurs, but I don't know what happened with that. It is what it is, but he betted on himself, and that's great. I just hope everybody has a great day. It's hump day, and we're close to the weekend. I want some rain, but not as much as those people in St. Louis got. I just want some rain, just a little bit, just to cool us down here in Houston. And other than that, I hope everybody have a great day. Sit back, enjoy the view wherever you are. Have a glass of wine. 808 out here hiding, running and scheming. I see you, 808. I'm gonna find you. I know where to find you. Don't be hiding the smoke. I'll be looking for you.
Chris, I think that should be the next poll. What disappears faster? DeMar DeRozan in the second round of 808s after his team
Oh,
loses a big game.
nah, that's wrong. Uh, it's been a crazy week already on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen. If you pay attention to such things, you can understand that it can get real. Um, Unfortunately, the advent of social media allows those to take a platform and act an ass at times. And what we try to do here is create a platform where every voice can be heard, even those that aren't popular. Like that is unfortunate. Sometimes about the environment that we operate in is that there are people in here whom we may or may not get along with, but that doesn't preclude us from at least giving them a chance to make amends. It's a hard line to walk as a host, and I hope that all of you get to walk that line, because I'm here to provide a platform to hear you. And I know that you would want to be treated the same way. So remember, no matter where you are and what you're doing or what time it is, like, you're a human being. And let's be human beings first. And yeah, I know sometimes that means we have to take an L in our interactions. And sometimes you take the L up front so that you can get a W later, right? You learn best about yourself when you're put in a challenging position to ask who and what you are as an individual. And I challenge you to be the best individual that you can be, and challenge yourself and ask yourself who and what you are. Thank you for listening. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Peace out, everybody. Brought to you by nobody, because we're not sponsored yet. Maybe. I don't know. It's weird. Have no partnerships other than one that I'm grateful for, and that's with audiolabs.io. In fact, if you go to YouTube and go to the Hoop Spaces channel, you'll see all of these shows that we have recorded on our YouTube channel, powered by audiolabs.io. So we're ever grateful for them. More to come in the future. I can't wait. It's pretty exciting stuff. See you tomorrow. We'll have, again, a day of absolutely nothing to talk about, yet we still will talk about basketball, because it's always a great day to talk about ball. Peace out.